The voice thundered through the tightly packed dining room just as forks scraped plates and stew scents lingered in the air. It wasn't a neighbor shouting. It wasn't a joke. It was Bola, trembling, pointing directly at her husband, Colonel, with a fury that made every elder at the table freeze mid-chew. What would you do if your husband said this to you? Hit like if you've ever felt betrayed. And drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. The room fell into a choking silence. A generator hummed outside. Traffic horns from the Lego street below bled through the balcony windows. But inside that house, in their once peaceful home in Suralere, chaos hovered like a ghost. Colonel's face tightened. Must you disgrace me like this, Bola? In front of my family? Me? Disgrace you? Bola spat. Tell them what you told me this afternoon. Tell them why you suddenly don't feel the marriage again. Tell them before I expose everything. Colonel's elder sister, Funmi, rubbed her forehead, already irritated. Can we not do this at the dinner table? People are eating. But Bola wasn't listening. She wasn't even seeing the room anymore. All she saw was the message she'd read on Colonel's phone hours earlier. The message that shattered her chest like glass. Baby, I told you she's nothing. Soon everything will be sorted. You and I will live the life we planned. Just be patient. And then a photo. A woman's bare legs under Colonel's bedsheet. Her husband's bedsheet. Her own home. 12 years of marriage. Crushed in 10 seconds. Bola, stop this madness, Colonel whispered harshly. You're embarrassing yourself. No, she shot back. I'm exposing you. She shoved his phone across the table. It slid and spun till it stopped in front of his mother, Mama Colonel, who frowned as she picked it up. What is this? Mama murmured, trying to adjust her glasses. Evidence. Bola shouted. Evidence of his infidelity. Evidence of this man's cheating life. This man you all praise. This same man telling his mistress that I am nothing. Gasps erupted around the table. Even Funmi froze. Colonel jolted up, knocking his chair down. Enough. Bola, you don't know what you're talking about. That was you. Bola screamed. Your voice note was right there. Your face was in the mirror in that woman's room. Do you think I'm blind? His jaw dropped. Tight, trembling, cornered. A cheating spouse. A husband she defended for years. A man who called her wife of my youth, now labeled her nothing. Mama Colonel placed the phone down slowly. Colonel, is this true? Colonel swallowed. Hard. His silence was its own confession. But instead of shame, anger flared in his eyes. So what if I stepped out? Are you perfect? Is anybody perfect? The table erupted again. Bola staggered backward, chest tight, tears rushing down. Colonel, I left my dreams for this marriage. I worked deliveries day and night to support this house. I sacrificed everything. And this is how you repay me. Colonel folded his arms. Don't act like a saint. You're just a delivery woman. Always tired, always smelling like bike exhaust. What respectable man would be satisfied with that? A collective HAAA burst from the relatives. Bola's legs nearly gave out. Delivery woman. Like it was an insult. Like she wasn't the backbone of the home. Like her hustle wasn't the reason they ever got to sit at a table like this. Funmi leaned forward. Colonel, that's your wife. Respect yourself. But Colonel was spiraling. And Bola realized he had no intention of apologizing. Something had changed in him. Something dark. Something calculated. Something that felt like emotional manipulation, the type used to crush someone's confidence entirely. Colonel pointed directly at her. You're accusing me like you're special? My father had other women. My uncles had other women. That's African marriage. Learn to manage it. Bola stared, stunned. African marriage? Infidelity is now tradition? Betrayal is now custom. Call it what you want. Mama Cunnell slammed her palm on the table. Cunnell, you cannot talk to your wife like this. He hissed and dropped back into his seat, but the damage was done. Bola wiped her cheeks. You said you don't feel anything for me again, right? Say it here. Cunnell didn't blink. Yes. I don't. Every heart in the room seemed to shatter with hers. And then he added the dagger, cold, sharp, deliberate. And I want a divorce. Another explosion. Funmi jumped up. What nonsense. After 12 years. Cunnell shrugged calmly now, as if the bomb he dropped had settled him. I've made my decision. I've already spoken to someone. A lawyer. Bola froze. A lawyer. Already? Cunnell, she whispered, voice cracking. How long have you been planning this? He avoided her eyes. That answered everything. This wasn't spontaneous outrage. This wasn't a heat-of-the-moment decision. This was betrayal that had been simmering quietly, waiting for the perfect day to explode. Mama Cunnell stood up trembling. Cunnell, you will not disgrace this family. Sit down and... I'm done sitting, he snapped. Bola should start preparing to move out. The room spun around Bola. Move out. Move out. From the home she worked to pay rent for? The mortgage she contributed to? The marriage she held together? Her lungs tightened as if the walls were closing in. She gripped the edge of the table. Cunnell, where do you expect me to go? And why now? Why like this? He didn't answer. Because he didn't have to. The collective stares around the table said it all. He had another woman. He wanted to replace her. He was done pretending. Bola clasped her hands together, trembling. If you do this to me, God will fight for me. Cunnell scoffed. I don't fear threats. I fear poverty. And I won't let your low income drag me down. Another Heir rippled around the room. So that was his real problem. Her job. Her hustle. Her backbone. Her contribution. Never enough in his eyes. Bola felt the final shift inside her. The moment women often reach, the snapping point between heartbreak and survival. I won't beg you, she whispered. But you will regret humiliating me like this. Threats again, he mocked. Pack your things tomorrow. Her eyes lifted, burning with something new. Resolve. Cunnell, she said softly. Dangerously. You have no idea what you've started. The room stiffened. A storm was forming. A revenge story waiting to ignite. Then, just as the tension hit its peak, the front door burst open and a teenage girl rushed in screaming. Somebody come quickly. A girl is falling off the cliff behind the estate. She's hanging on a branch. Everyone gasped. Cunnell jumped. Funmi screamed. Bola's breath caught. But one person didn't hesitate. Bola dashed out of the house, slippers flying, wrapper nearly unraveling, as she bolted toward the estate's rocky back edge. She didn't think about Cunnell. She didn't think about betrayal. She didn't think about humiliation. She only thought. Save the child. The night wind slapped her face as she sprinted. Her heart thudded violently. Screams echoed from the cliffside. Security guards were shouting, residents gathering, panic spreading. Then she saw her. A young girl dangling from a breaking branch, feet kicking helplessly above the jagged rocks below. Help me. Please. Bola didn't stop to calculate anything. She dropped to her stomach, crawling toward the edge. Hold on. Don't let go, she shouted. People screamed behind her. Madam, stop. The ground is crumbling. But Bola reached forward, eyes wide, stretching her arm as far as possible. I've got you. Grab my hand. The girl's fingers brushed hers. Dust crumbled. The branch cracked. The girl slipped. And Bola lunged. Her hand locked around the girl's wrist. Hold on. Bola screamed. Don't leave me, the girl sobbed. I won't, Bowler yelled. The cliff beneath them shook again. Other residents rushed to help, forming a chain, grabbing Bowler's legs. Pull, someone shouted. They heaved. They strained. They cried out. And then, in one violent jerk, they pulled both of them away from the cliff edge. The girl collapsed into Bowler's arms, sobbing uncontrollably. Bowler held her tight, heart pounding, the earth spinning, her mind fogged with adrenaline. People clapped. Others cried. Someone shouted, "Thank God! Thank God!" Bowler stroked the girl's hair. "You're safe now." But before she finished speaking, a sleek convoy of black SUVs screeched to a halt nearby. Men in suits jumped out. Then a tall, well-dressed older man ran toward them, desperation in his eyes. He shouted the girl's name. And the crowd murmured, "Is that not Billionaire Depot's convoy? Is that not the famous industrialist? Is that not the man who owns several estates in Lagos?" Bowler frowned, confused, still catching her breath. The man dropped to his knees beside them, voice breaking. "My daughter, my only daughter. Oh God!" The girl clung to Bowler. And then the billionaire lifted his teary eyes, locking them on Bowler, with an expression that could change her entire life. But Bowler didn't know that yet. Because behind her, walking toward the scene slowly, with a look of dawning fear, was Cunnel. And he realized in that moment, the woman he just cast aside, had just saved the heir to a billionaire's empire. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping stories. What do you think the billionaire will do next after seeing Bowler? Comment below. Billionaire Depot's voice cracked through the air like thunder as he jumped out of the SUV, nearly stumbling in panic. His suited security men swarmed around him, but he shoved them aside, eyes scanning desperately until they landed on the shivering child still wrapped in Bowler's arms. The girl, barely 14, was trembling violently, dirt on her cheeks, her uniform torn from the fall. She clung to Bowler like a lifeline. Depot's breath caught. His chest caved. "My baby! My God, my baby!" He fell to his knees beside them, tears already spilling. "Papa," the girl whispered weakly. Bowler gently pushed the girl toward her father. "She's safe now, sir." She held on. She fought. Depot scooped his daughter into his arms, hugging her with a desperation that made even onlookers wipe tears from their eyes. "Thank you, God. Thank you, God," he kept whispering, rocking her. Then, slowly, he looked at Bowler. But there was no arrogance. No celebrity pride. No billionaire power. Only raw gratitude. "Madam," he said, voice thick. "I don't know who you are. But you saved my child. You saved my world." Bowler blinked, still trembling from the near-death scene. "I only did what anybody would do." "And oh," he said firmly. Many stood back. They screamed. They froze. "But you risked your life. You crawled to the edge. You grabbed her. You held her. Madam, you are a hero." Those around murmured in agreement. But behind them, Cunnel stiffened, eyes wide, mouth parting. He had just spent an entire family dinner reducing Bowler to nothing. Now the richest man in the district was calling her a hero. And worse. Cameras were now recording. Phones were pointed. Neighbors were whispering. "Is that not Bowler? Cunnel's wife. The delivery woman he insults? She saved a billionaire's heir. God don catcham. Cunnel must be regretting now." Cunnel's neck flushed red. He tried to step forward. Be Bowler. But security blocked him instinctively. Bowler didn't even look his way. Her focus was on the girl now leaning into her father's chest, crying softly, fingers gripping Depot's shirt. "It's okay, baby. I'm here," he murmured. "Papa is here." Then he turned back to Bowler. "Please. What's your name?" "Bowler," she said quietly. Mrs. Bowler what? Her throat tightened. Mrs. Bowler. O'Dunsey. Connell flinched at the name. He suddenly wished she had left off the Mrs. Dapot nodded. Mrs. Bowler O'Dunsey. I will never forget this name. He signaled to one of his men. Get my card. They rushed. Handed it to him. He pressed it into Bowler's hands. Please call me tomorrow morning. Any time. I want to thank you properly. No, adequately. You saved my life by saving hers. Bowler shook her head. Sir, I don't need anything. I just want her safe. And she is, Dapot said with emotion. Because of you. Suddenly, the girl lifted her head, staring at Bowler with wide, grateful eyes. Please, don't go. Stay. Bowler smiled softly. I'll be nearby. Sirens started approaching. Estate ambulances and additional security. Flashing lights painted the scene. Dapot looked up sharply. We need to get her checked. To the hospital. Right now. His men moved quickly, forming a protective barrier. As he lifted his daughter into the SUV, he looked back at Bowler one last time. Tomorrow morning, he said. Please. Then the convoy screeched out of the estate. The entire crowd breathed out. A miracle had just unfolded. But for Bowler, the miracle clashed with a storm. Because as the cars disappeared, Connell finally forced his way through the crowd. He grabbed her wrist sharply. What stunt was that? The crowd gasped. Bowler yanked her hand away. Connell, leave me alone. His nostrils flared. So now you're playing hero? In front of the whole estate? Trying to embarrass me even more. Embarrass you? Bowler spat. I was saving a child. A child. Connell. You're still thinking about yourself. He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Do you know who that man is? Are you trying to use this to gain popularity? Money. People murmured disapprovingly. Bowler let out a bitter laugh. You really think everything is about you? About money? Connell, you disgust me. His jaw tightened. Don't talk to me like that. Or what? She snapped. You'll threaten me again? Humiliate me again? A few neighbors pulled out their phones, recording. Connell noticed and stiffened. Let's go home, he hissed. No, Bowler said. I'm not stepping anywhere with you right now. Connell seized her elbow again. A tall estate guard stepped between them. Sir, remove your hand. You can't tell me what to. Sir, the guard repeated firmly. Remove your hand. Connell slowly released her. Humiliation. Public disgrace. This was everything he feared. Bowler lifted her chin and began walking toward the estate entrance, needing air, needing space, needing anything but Connell's presence. Connell followed closely behind. Look, Bowler, you're overreacting. Come home. We can talk. You wanted a divorce an hour ago, she said without looking back. Go enjoy your decision. That was before. Before what? She turned sharply. Before you realized the woman you called nothing is suddenly useful? Or do you just want to claim my shine? He blinked rapidly. Bowler, don't twist things. I was angry. But we can fix it. Fix what? She mocked. Your cheating. Your emotional manipulation. Your disrespect. Or the fact you told your mistress I'm nothing. Gasps surrounded them. Connell froze, glancing nervously at the crowd. That's a lie, he whispered. Your voice note said it, she shot back. He swallowed. No escape. No denial. Bowler walked away from him, toward the estate exit. Her mind was spinning, body shaking, adrenaline still bubbling through her veins. She didn't know where she was going. She only knew she needed out. Connell jogged after her. Bowler, please. Don't make decisions based on emotions. She whipped around. You made decisions based on your desires. Don't preach to me. He sighed. Look, maybe we can start over. Bola blinked. Slowly. Then she laughed. Short, harsh, and broken. Start over? With who? You. Colonel, I don't trust you. And I don't respect you. Not anymore. He stepped forward again, voice shaking. Bola, listen, that billionaire. Talk to him carefully. People like him. They can use you. They can manipulate you. You don't understand that world. Her eyes narrowed. Are you jealous? He stiffened. No. I'm protecting you. Where was this protection when you told me to move out? When you said I'm dragging you down? When you blamed my job for your infidelity? He flinched. She continued walking. He followed. Bola, please, he insisted. Let's talk inside. Let's pretend today didn't happen. She turned again, fire in her eyes. Colonel, if pretending solved problems, you would still be faithful. He had no comeback. No lie prepared. No manipulation available. She was done being small. She was done being silent. She was done being controlled. As she walked through the estate gates, her breathing deepened, her steps becoming steadier. But right before she reached the street, her phone vibrated. Unknown number. She hesitated, then answered. A deep voice spoke. Mrs. O'Dunsey? This is Depo's personal assistant. The chairman asked that you be available tomorrow morning by 9 a.m. He insists. Her heart skipped. Connell's face twitched when he overheard. The assistant added one more line. Please note, the chairman said, and I quote, her life is about to change. The call ended. Bola stood frozen on the sidewalk. Connell stared, stunned, fear creeping into his eyes. Bola, what does that mean? He asked weakly. She didn't answer. Because she didn't know. But something inside her, the part that almost died at the dinner table, began to flicker again. Hope. Possibility. And something else. Revenge. The night after the cliff rescue felt unusually long. Bola lay awake on the far edge of the bed, Connell's bed technically, but she felt like a stranger in her own home. Streetlights slipped through the curtains, painting dim shapes on the walls. Every creak from the roof, every distant car horn, every hum from the ceiling fan seemed louder than usual. She kept replaying the day's events. The family dinner. The betrayal. The cheating confession. The humiliation. The rescue. The billionaire's gratitude. The phone call. The promise that her life is about to change. But now, in this suffocating room, nothing felt certain. Not even tomorrow. Connell lay beside her, though at a strategic distance, as though unsure whether to apologize or continue pretending he held the moral high ground. He stared up at the ceiling, restless, gripping his phone but not daring to unlock it for fear she might glance over and catch another message. His ego was bruised. His pride was shaken. And worse, he was scared. Scared of what Depo might offer her. Scared of losing control of the woman he thought would always stay. Scared of how the estate residents whispered his name tonight. Mocking, judging, exposing the infidelity he'd so badly tried to hide. Finally, he spoke. Bola, you're still awake, right? She didn't answer. He swallowed. I know today was intense. But you have to understand, I didn't mean half the things I said. Still silence. Connell pressed on. You know how men get when they're angry. Words come out we don't mean. Bola exhaled softly, voice low and tired. Connell, stop. Stop what? He whispered. Stop trying to twist things into tiny accidents, she said. You didn't lie by accident. You didn't cheat by accident. You didn't tell another woman I'm nothing by accident. He closed his eyes. I know. I'm sorry. Are you? She asked quietly. Or are you just afraid the billionaire is involved? His chest tightened. He sat up slightly. I'm afraid of losing my marriage. What marriage? She whispered. The one you walked out of emotionally months ago? The one you dragged through betrayal? The one you tried to end earlier tonight? He had no answer. Bowler continued, voice cracking from exhaustion. If I hadn't saved that girl, would you still be here talking to me? Or would you be texting your mistress, celebrating your freedom? Connell winced. I wasn't celebrating anything. But you planned the divorce, Bowler said. You planned it before today. That's the part that broke me. Connell's shoulders slumped. He reached for her hand, but she pulled it away as if his touch burned. Bowler, he murmured, I don't want us to separate. You already chose separation, she whispered. You just didn't expect me to rise in the same night you tried to push me down. Connell didn't speak again. He rolled onto his back, staring into the darkness, silently wrestling with the consequences of his actions. Meanwhile, Bowler's mind drifted to the billionaire's daughter, the trembling hand she had held over the cliff, the terrified eyes that had pleaded for mercy, the way she clung afterward as though Bowler had been her mother. Why was she near the cliff alone? Where was her security? What made a billionaire's heir risk her life like that? The questions sat quietly in Bowler's thoughts, unsettling and unanswered. By dawn, the house buzzed with tension. The sun crawled up Lagos's skyline, casting its early warmth over Suralere, but the marital chill between Bowler and Connell remained frozen. Connell hovered awkwardly in the kitchen as Bowler prepared tea, green tea for herself, ginger for her nerves. Her hands shook slightly, but she masked it by moving slowly. Connell cleared his throat. You're going this morning? To meet him? Yes, she said. He hesitated. Do you want me to come with you? She paused, almost dropping the teaspoon. You? She asked, eyebrows raised. To meet a man you accused me of trying to use? A man you think wants to manipulate me? Connell swallowed. I just thought. No, she cut him off. You thought wrong. He shifted uncomfortably. He might take advantage of the situation. You already did that, she said bluntly. Connell shut his mouth. The kettle whistled loudly, filling the silence with a shrill reminder of the boiling tension. Bowler poured the tea, inhaling its steam as if it could untangle her emotions. But it only made her chest tighten more. Connell tried again. Look, maybe if we present ourselves as a united couple, he might respect. She spun sharply. Connell, stop acting like we're still a unit. You threw this marriage away. Now you're acting like you want to fix things because someone with power noticed me. His face flushed. It's not like that. It is exactly like that, she replied. Fine. He looked away, voice trembling. If you walk out that door and accept whatever offer he gives, don't be surprised if it destroys everything. She stared at him. Connell, she whispered. Everything was already destroyed before the billionaire came. He dropped his gaze. And in that moment, Bowler realized something. This broken man still wanted control. Still wanted ownership. Still wanted her stuck so he wouldn't look bad before society. But she was done living small. She finished her tea, grabbed her bag, and headed to the door. Bowler, Connell said quietly. If you walk out, I'm not sure what happens next. She didn't even look back. Neither am I. And then she stepped out. The city was awake, vendors shouting, buses honking, engines rumbling, Danfo buses swerving like restless bees. Bowler joined a bus heading toward Victoria Island, her stomach tied in knots. She kept replaying Depo's words. Her life is about to change. The phrase both scared and intrigued her. Why would a billionaire say that to a stranger? What did he want to offer her? Why insist on 9 a.m. sharply? She looked out the window, watching the tall buildings pass by. The glass towers, the billboards, the bustling intersections. Her world suddenly felt too small, yet too big at the same time. The bus dropped her near the waterfront area of 6. She walked past luxury stores, cafes, and high-end offices until she reached the gated entrance she had been directed to. A massive sign read, Dawudu Holdings Headquarters. The guard at the front gate checked her ID, glanced at a list, and straightened immediately. "You're expected, Ma. Please go in." Expected. By a billionaire. The elevator ride to the top floor felt longer than her entire 12 years of marriage. When the doors opened, she stepped into a stunning private lobby. Marble floors, high ceilings, soft ambient lighting, and a panoramic view of the city. A young receptionist stood up immediately. "You must be Mrs. Bola Odunsi," she said warmly. "The chairman will see you shortly. Please have a seat." Bola sat cautiously on the plush chair, heart racing. After a few minutes, a tall man in a suit approached her. "Madam Bola, please follow me." She stood and followed him down a long corridor. At the end was a large office door. He knocked once. A deep voice from inside responded, "Let her in." The man opened the door. Bola stepped in. And stopped. Billionaire Depo stood by the window, his back turned, his hands clasped behind him. His daughter sat on a sofa nearby, still bandaged but smiling shyly when she saw Bola. "Papa," she came, the girl said softly. Depo turned. He looked exhausted, but grateful. "Mrs. Bola," he said gently. "Thank you for coming." Bola nodded. "How is she?" The girl replied before her father could. "I'm okay. Papa didn't let me sleep alone. He stayed with me all night." Depo's voice cracked a little. "I almost lost her. And you saved her. How do you thank someone for giving you back your child?" Bola swallowed. "I wasn't thinking. I just acted." "That's what heroes do," Depo said. He gestured toward a chair. "Please sit." She sat. Depo remained standing, studying her with a mixture of admiration and curiosity. "I want to know about you," he said. "Who you are. What you do. Your story." Bola blinked, unsure where to begin. But before she could even speak, her phone vibrated loudly in her bag. "Colonel. Calling." She silenced it. Depo noticed. "If you need to take that." "No," she said quickly. "I don't." His eyebrows lifted slightly. But he didn't comment. Instead, he walked slowly around his desk and sat opposite her, eyes steady, voice calm but firm. "Mrs. Bola, I would like to change your life. And I want to start today." Her heart stumbled. The room suddenly felt too small. Depo continued. "I want to offer you." But before he finished, the office door burst open. A panicked secretary rushed in, breathless. "Sir. It's urgent. Something has happened." Depo stood instantly. "What is it?" The secretary swallowed. "It's your company. There's a legal emergency involving your daughter. Someone filed a claim. They're accusing her of." She hesitated. Bola's eyes widened. Depo's face hardened. "Accusing her of what?" The secretary's voice dropped. "Of attempting self-harm." The room froze. Bola felt her stomach drop. Depo's daughter gasped, covering her mouth. The secretary added shakily. "And the claim came from someone inside your own estate." Depo slowly turned his head toward Bola. She felt a chill rush down her spine. Because there was only one person in that estate petty and vindictive enough to weaponize the truth. Or twist it. "Colonel." For a long moment, the room stood completely still. Depo's dark eyes locked with Bola's, searching, questioning, absorbing. His daughter, sitting on the sofa with bandaged arms and trembling lips, looked frightened and confused, as though the accusation itself was heavier than the fall from the cliff. The secretary stepped back slightly, her hands shaking as she held up the printed report. "Sir, this arrived through legal channels at exactly 8:05 this morning. It states that your daughter's near fall wasn't an accident, but an attempt to harm herself. Whoever filed it claims you're trying to cover it up." Depo's jaw clenched. "That is a lie." His daughter whimpered softly. Papa, I didn't. I would never. She burst into tears. Bola instinctively moved toward her. The girl reached for Bola's hand the same way she had reached for it at the cliff. Desperate, trusting, fragile. Bola squeezed her gently. I know you wouldn't, sweetheart. Don't worry. We'll get to the bottom of this. Dapo pounded his palm once on the desk, a controlled but furious strike. Who would do such a thing? Who would twist a child's accident into this? The secretary cleared her throat, voice dropping to a whisper. Sir. The report was filed anonymously. But the metadata tag, it originated inside your estate. Bola's heart skipped. Cunnell's face flashed in her mind. His anger. His humiliation. His fear of losing control. His desperation to warn her. His jealousy when he overheard the assistant last night. His comments about the billionaire, using her. His sudden attempt to reclaim authority in a marriage he had already destroyed. Cunnell was desperate enough to do something stupid. Question was, would he stoop this low? A false legal claim, especially one attacking a billionaire's child, wasn't just petty. It was dangerous. Illegal. Reckless. Bola swallowed, her hands tightening around her bag. Sir, you said someone from the estate filed this. But that estate is huge. It could be anyone. Dapo studied her face, as though trying to read every flicker of thought. Mrs. Bola, do you know anyone who would benefit from this lie? Bola hesitated. She felt the weight of her marriage, its fractures, its wounds, its secrets pressing on her chest. Cunnell's affair. His mistress. His lawyer. His plans. His bitterness. His warning that meeting Dapo would destroy everything. His sudden, suspicious silence since she left the house. The pieces piled up like firewood. But she wasn't ready to accuse him. Not yet. Not without proof. So she shook her head slowly. No, sir. I can't think of anyone for now. His daughter sniffed, still holding Bola's hand. Papa, I promise I didn't try to hurt myself. I know, my love, Dapo whispered, kneeling beside her. He kissed her hair. I know. Then he turned to Bola again. His voice lowered. Mrs. Bola, this lie is going to escalate. And I need to protect my daughter from it. That is why I asked you to come this morning. Because you are the only person who saw the entire incident up close. You were there. You heard her scream. You pulled her back. You know the truth. Bola nodded. Yes, sir. I'll tell anyone what happened. He inhaled deeply, calmer now, though tension still clung to him like a second skin. Thank you, he said. But that's not all. He walked back to his desk and pulled out a file. Thick, sealed, heavy. Mrs. Bola, last night I promised to change your life. That wasn't an exaggeration. But now, after this accusation, I need your help more urgently than before. Her eyebrows lifted. My help? How? He opened the file. Inside was a contract. A job description. A monthly figure that made Bola's breath stop. Sir, this must be a mistake. It's not, he said. I want to employ you as my daughter's personal aide. Full-time. Starting immediately. Bola froze. The room blurred for a moment. His daughter sat up straighter. Papa, I want her. I want Madame Bola. Please. Bola blinked. Sir, I don't understand. Why me? Because my daughter trusts you, Dapo said simply. She has never trusted a stranger the way she clings to you. She almost died yesterday. And you saved her. Not my guards. Not my security. Not my staff. You. Bola felt her chest tighten. You're kind, Dapo continued. You're brave. You're calm. That's the type of person I want around her while I handle this legal mess. Bola stared at the contract again. The salary alone was more than her entire delivery work brought in a year. Her mind spun. What about her job? Her schedule? Her life? What about Connell? Her blood ran cold at the thought of him. Connell would go mad. Explode. Twist this into some manipulation plot. Or worse, use it as another reason to accuse her. But another voice inside her whispered, "This is your chance. Your moment. Your exit door. A new beginning." She looked at Dapo. "Sir, I don't know what to say." "Say yes," his daughter said softly. "Please." Her phone suddenly buzzed violently in her pocket. Multiple times, back to back. She ignored it. Dapo watched her with quiet intensity. "Mrs. Bowler, I know this is a big decision. But I want you to understand something." He leaned forward slightly. "What happened at that cliff was not coincidence. In my life, I have learned that nothing important happens by accident." His daughter nodded slowly, leaning into his side. "You came into my child's life at the exact moment she needed saving," Dapo said. "And maybe she came into yours for the same reason." A chill rolled through Bowler's spine. Her phone buzzed again. A text message popped up on the screen. From Connell. "Where are you? Come home now. This is not a game." She locked the phone immediately. Dapo noticed, but didn't ask. "Mrs. Bowler," he said gently, "if you accept, the legal team will prepare everything. You'll be protected, paid, respected. And my daughter will have someone who genuinely cares about her." Bowler swallowed, looking at the trembling girl beside her. "I only met her yesterday. And she cried herself to sleep asking if you were coming today," Dapo said quietly. "I cannot ignore emotional bonds, especially rare ones." The girl whispered, "Please be with me, Madam Bowler. Please." Tears burned Bowler's eyes. She thought about her own childhood. The loneliness. The neglect. The nights she cried without comfort. The warmth she always wished someone would give her. And here was a child, reaching for her, choosing her, needing her. Bowler exhaled shakily. "Sir, I will accept." The girl squealed softly and hugged her. Dapo closed his eyes in relief. "Thank you. Truly." Bowler smiled faintly, her heart full, her spirit trembling, her future shifting shape before her eyes. But the moment was short-lived. Because suddenly, Dapo's office door burst open again. This time, it wasn't the secretary. It was a tall, stern man in a legal suit, holding a stack of papers and sweating as though he'd sprinted up the stairs. "Sir, sorry to interrupt, but we've identified the device used to file the false claim." Bowler froze. Her breath stopped. The lawyer continued, "It came from a personal phone belonging to." He checked the papers, then looked directly at Bowler. "Mr. Connell O'Dunsey." The room went silent. Dapo slowly turned toward Bowler. His expression had changed. Darkened. Sharpened. Measured. "Mrs. Bowler," he said in a low voice. "Your husband just accused my daughter of attempting to harm herself." Her heart dropped. "No," she whispered. "No, he wouldn't do that." But deep down, she knew he would. He already had tried to warn her, threaten her, control her. Dapo's voice hardened. "This means your husband is now legally attacking my family. And that makes this situation far more complicated than I expected." Bowler pressed a trembling hand to her chest. Her phone buzzed again. This time, a new message. From Connell. "If you think you can embarrass me and run to that billionaire for help, you're mad. Come home. This is your last warning." Bowler's blood ran icy cold. Dapo saw the message flash on her screen. His eyes sank into a deeper, colder calm. "Mrs. Bowler," he said, "I need to know something honestly." She lifted her eyes slowly. "Is your husband dangerous?" Bowler's lips parted, unable to answer. Because for the first time in her life, she wasn't sure. Thank you for watching this powerful journey on Stories and Stoner. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping African dramas. What lesson did this story teach you? Drop your thoughts in the comments. You think you can threaten me and walk away, Bola? Kunnel's voice blasted through the speaker of her phone so loudly that Depo's secretary flinched from the hallway. Bola froze at the center of the billionaire's office, the phone trembling in her hand. His voice was ragged, furious, an erupting volcano. If you don't get home in 10 minutes, you'll regret ever stepping out of that house. Do you hear me? Depo stood behind his desk, shoulders stiffening. His daughter moved closer to Bola protectively, her small hand gripping Bola's sleeve. Bola inhaled sharply, struggling to steady her voice. Kunnel, why would you file a false report about a child? What were you thinking? A harsh laugh exploded from the phone. Oh, so that's what this is about. Look at you, defending strangers while your own marriage is collapsing. You think I don't know what's going on? You think you can shame me? Embarrass me? You think you can run off to your billionaire friend and leave me hanging? The poisonous tone made Depo's jaw tighten. Kunnel, Bola said slowly, we will discuss this later. I'm at work. Stop shouting. Work? He barked. You mean the rich man's office? The one you couldn't wait to run to? The one you dressed up for? I told you, stay away from him. Depo stepped forward. Mrs. Bola, let me. Bola lifted a hand slightly, eyes pleading. Not yet. Kunnel's voice continued, spitting venom. What exactly are you doing there? Washing his feet? Warming his bed? Or signing away your dignity the way you signed away our marriage? Even the lawyer gasped quietly. Bola's heart cracked, but she stayed steady. Kunnel, she whispered, I saved his daughter's life. That's all. Kunnel scoffed. You're a delivery woman. Since when do you save billionaire children unless they promised you something in return? That was enough. Bola hung up. Her hand shook uncontrollably, but her face remained frozen in a mask of quiet devastation. Silence filled the office. Heavy. Charged. Painful. Depo spoke first. Mrs. Bola, he said carefully, I didn't mean to overhear that, but this is no longer a small domestic issue. Your husband's accusations have now crossed into criminal territory. Bola wiped her cheek quickly, refusing to let a single tear fall. I'm sorry, sir. I didn't expect. You have nothing to apologize for, Depo said firmly. His daughter clung tighter to Bola. The lawyer stepped forward. Sir, with your permission, we need to respond fast. Filing a false claim that a child attempted self-harm is a major legal offense. If we don't counter it quickly, it could spread online or escalate into an inquiry. Bola's knees weakened. Please, sir, don't arrest him. He's foolish, angry, reckless, but he's still the father of my child. Depo studied her face. Long, deep, understanding. Mrs. Bola, I'm not aiming for prison. But I need the truth protected. The lawyer nodded. What we need is proof that the report was false and malicious. Meaning, we need messages, threats, anything that shows he knew the truth but lied anyway. Bola swallowed. Her phone held all the proof they could ever need. Threats, accusations, manipulation, coercion, desperation. But handing them over would be the point of no return. Mrs. Bola, Depo said softly, we won't force you, but your husband's lie is already in motion. If we don't defend your name and ours, this story will get twisted. He may drag you down with him. I cannot allow that. She looked down at her phone, the cracked screen reflecting her trembling fingers. Then she exhaled shakily. Take it, she whispered. Use whatever you need. The lawyer stepped forward and copied the relevant messages onto a drive, documenting everything. By the time he finished, sweat dotted his forehead. Sir, This is more than enough to discredit the claim. If we move quickly, we can stop any further damage, and legally pressure him to retract the whole thing. Dapo nodded. Proceed. As the lawyer left, Bowler sank into the sofa, overwhelmed. Dapo moved to sit beside her. Mrs. Bowler, I know this is painful, but you did the right thing. She pressed her palms together, staring at the floor. I never wanted my marriage to become this. Public disgrace, legal threats, emotional manipulation. He was not always like this. No one begins as a villain, Dapo said quietly. But choices shape us. She turned to look at him. Sir, what will happen to him now? That depends on how far he chooses to push this, Dapo replied. If he steps back, I will not pursue him. But if he continues attacking my family, then I must protect my own. Bowler nodded slowly. Understood. His daughter crawled into her lap gently. Madam Bowler, don't go back to him. He sounds scary. That pierced Bowler's chest. She stroked the girl's braided hair. Sweetheart, sometimes grown-ups get angry because they feel powerless. It doesn't make it right. But it happens. Dapo watched her with an unreadable expression. Part admiration, part concern. After a long silence, he stood. Come. Let me show you your new workspace. Her heart jolted. Sir, you mean today? Yes, he said simply. You accepted the job. And I meant every word. You start today. The girl cheered and held Bowler's hand as they walked through the quiet hallways of the mansion-like office suite. They passed staff who bowed respectfully, large framed photographs of charity sites, family events, and international conferences lining the walls. It was surreal. Just yesterday, Bowler was delivering meals on a motorbike. Today, she was stepping into the inner world of a billionaire. But reality returned the moment Dapo opened a door, revealing a warm, elegant office with soft pink decor, plush seating, and shelves filled with children's books. This is where you'll spend most of your hours with her, Dapo explained. Lessons, reading, emotional support, personal guidance. The girl hugged Bowler suddenly, with pure, unfiltered affection. Bowler felt her heart melt. I promise I'll take care of her. A soft smile touched Dapo's lips. I believe you. But the calm was interrupted by the vibrating of her phone again. This time, many missed calls. From neighbors, friends, unknown numbers, her landlord, her son's school. A cold prickling traveled up her spine. She opened one text from a neighbor. Bowler, where are you? Connell is outside shouting. He's saying you disgraced him. He is threatening to break your things. Please come quickly. Another message from her son's school. Please come immediately. There's a situation concerning your husband. Her entire chest clenched. Dapo saw the horror in her eyes. Mrs. Bowler, what is it? She showed him the messages with trembling hands. Dapo's face darkened instantly. Your husband is escalating. Sir, I need to go, Bowler whispered, panic rising. My son, my things, my neighbors. Dapo stepped closer. Wait. You cannot face him alone. Not in this state. But he might scare my son. I'm sending security with you. No, sir. People will talk. Let them talk, he said, voice suddenly sharp. Your safety comes first. Tears finally escaped her eyes. Sir, please. I don't want a scene. You already have one, he said gently. He picked up his phone and called the head of security. Prepare the escort. Immediately. Bowler shook her head desperately. This will drive him crazy. Dapo placed a firm hand on her shoulder. Mrs. Bowler, look at me. She did, eyes wet. This is not your fault, he said. And you do not deserve to be threatened in your own home. A sob escaped her throat. His daughter hugged her legs protectively. Don't cry. Bowler inhaled deeply, trying to steady her heart. Security arrived, a small team dressed in plain clothes, discreet but strong. "We'll follow your car closely," one said politely. "We're not here to interfere, just to ensure no harm comes to you or your child." Bola nodded shakily. As she stepped toward the elevator, Dapo called out to her, "Mrs. Bola." She turned. His voice softened, low and sincere. "Whatever happens at that house, remember, you're not alone anymore." Her breath caught. She nodded once, grateful, terrified, determined. Then she stepped into the elevator. As the doors closed, her phone buzzed one more time. A video. Sent by a neighbor. Shaky camera. Voices screaming. Glass breaking. Her son crying in the background. And then, Connell's voice, loud and unhinged. "If Bola doesn't come home, I'll show everyone what a fool she made me. I swear you'll all see." The elevator doors finally shut. Bola covered her mouth. Her world was about to explode. The moment Bola stepped out of the elevator, the security team flanked her on both sides like invisible walls. Her heartbeat thudded painfully as they escorted her through the lobby and into the waiting car. "Madam, stay low," one of the guards advised as she entered the back seat. "We'll follow closely. If anything escalates, we intervene." Bola nodded, her chest tight. "Please, just make sure my son is safe." "We will," the guard assured. As the convoy pulled out of the compound, she replayed the video on her phone. Connell shouting. Neighbors scattering. Her son crying. Glass shattering. This wasn't the man she married. This was someone unraveling. The car sped through the busy streets of Lagos, weaving past danfos and street hawkers. Bola pressed her palms together, whispering prayers under her breath. Halfway home, her phone rang. Unknown number. She hesitated before answering. A woman's voice came through. Smooth, sharp, taunting. "Hello, dear Bola." Bola stiffened. "Who is this? You don't recognize my voice?" The woman laughed lightly. "Ah, no wonder. You never cared to know who your husband has been spending his nights with." Bola's blood froze. It was her. The mistress. The woman's tone leaked satisfaction. "Yes, it's me. The one your husband actually loves. The one he confides in. The one he told everything." Bola swallowed hard. "What do you want?" "To warn you," the woman said, her voice dripping with mock pity. "Connell is finished. He has nothing left. His business is gone, his dignity is gone, and now that billionaire is about to crush him." Bola blinked. "What are you talking about?" "Oh, you didn't know," the woman chuckled. "Your sweet husband was planning to divorce you and take half of everything you own. Except now that he filed that foolish report, he's ruined his chances." Bola's eyes widened. "Divorce? Take what? I have nothing." "You have enough for him," the mistress said casually. "Your savings. Your son's school account. Your delivery business. And your peace of mind." Bola's breath caught. "Why tell me this? What do you gain?" The mistress sighed dramatically. "Honestly, I don't want to deal with a broke man. If the billionaire comes for him legally, I'm out. I'm not here for charity." A sting of humiliation burned Bola's eyes. "And one more thing," the woman added smugly. "Connell said your billionaire is already falling for you. That's why he panicked. That's why he filed the report, to pull you away." Bola pressed a shaking hand to her forehead. "Please stop." "Oh no," the mistress whispered. "You haven't even heard the worst." Before Bola could respond, the woman hung up. The car filled with crushing silence. The guard glanced back. "Madam, are you okay?" Bola nodded even though she wasn't. Inside her, something dark and sharp began to awaken. Not anger, but clarity. Connell had destroyed their marriage long before today. He had chosen betrayal. He had chosen disgrace. He had chosen war. And now, she had to choose something too. The car turned into her street. Instant chaos. Neighbors huddled outside. Children crying. Men trying to calm Connell. Her son clinging to a neighbor's skirt, terrified. Connell stood in the center of the yard, chest heaving, one hand holding a broken bottle like a threat, though not aimed at anyone in particular. His face was red, sweat dripping down his temples, hair scattered wildly. The moment he saw Bola, his eyes widened with equal parts rage and desperation. "You!" he shouted, pointing at her. "You finally showed up." The security team stepped forward instantly, forming a barrier. "Please stand back, sir," one said calmly. Connell barked a bitter laugh. "Oh, so now you walk around with bodyguards? You. The woman who used to beg for money to buy tomatoes." Bola didn't flinch. She stepped forward slowly, her voice steady. "Where is my son?" The neighbor ushered the trembling boy toward her. Bola pulled him close, kissing his forehead, whispering that he was safe. Connell scoffed. "So you've turned my own child against me too? Good. Good. At least now I see your true colors." Bola looked him directly in the eyes. For the first time, there was no fear, only exhaustion. "Connell," she said quietly, "you need help." He froze. The crowd whispered. "You're angry, you're jealous, you're drowning in your own mistakes," she continued. "But I won't let you drag me or our child down with you." Connell's lower lip trembled. "Bola, don't do this." "You already did," she replied. The head guard stepped forward. "Sir, you are required to come with us. You filed a false report endangering a minor. You must withdraw it immediately." Connell panicked. "No. No, I won't. You can't force me." "Refusal," the guard said firmly, "will escalate this into a legal matter you cannot escape." Connell's face crumbled. Then, he broke. He dropped the bottle, dropped to his knees, and began to cry, loud and raw. "I messed up. I messed up. Bola, please, don't leave me. I was scared. I thought you were replacing me." But Bola felt nothing now. No pity. No softness. Just release. "Connell," she said coldly, "I won't leave you. But I won't live like this again." He looked up. "What does that mean?" She took a deep breath. "It means I'm filing for separation." The crowd gasped. Her son squeezed her tightly. The guards exchanged looks. Connell's face twisted, first into shock, then into something much darker. "You think that Billionaire will save you?" he whispered. Bola didn't answer. But Connell leaned closer, voice trembling with a new, chilling edge. "You've just started a war you can't win." Bola stepped back instinctively. Because his eyes no longer looked broken. They looked dangerous. Stories under the Stoner. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. What do you think Connell will do now that Bola has filed for separation? Comment your predictions below. The house was unbearably quiet after the chaos. Connell had finally been escorted away, not arrested, just taken aside by the guards and two neighbors to calm down before he hurt someone or himself. The crowd was slowly dispersing. The street returned to its normal rhythm, but Bola's heart was still racing like drums at a village festival. Inside her sitting room, she sat with her knees pulled to her chest, her son asleep in her lap after crying himself to exhaustion. His tiny fingers still curled tightly around her shirt as if afraid she would disappear. The silence settled heavily. One moment, she was a delivery woman trying to survive each day. The next, her whole life had spun out of control. Marriage on the brink, a billionaire tangled in her troubles, and a husband threatening war. Bola leaned her head back and closed her eyes. How had things gotten this bad? Infidelity she could rationalize. Financial struggle she could forgive. Even emotional manipulation she had tolerated for years. But today was different. He had threatened her safety, threatened her neighbors, traumatized their child. and filed a false legal attack that could have destroyed another family. A line had been crossed that she could never uncross. Her phone vibrated softly. A message from Depot. Are you home? Is your son okay? Do you need medical support or temporary accommodation? Bowler stared at the message, her heart squeezing unexpectedly. Not because of romantic feelings, she wasn't there, but because the calm, steady concern felt like something she hadn't experienced in years. Someone was actually checking on her, without wanting anything in return. She typed back slowly. We are safe. Thank you. Almost immediately, he replied. If anything changes, you call me directly. My team is still nearby. You are not alone. She read the last line twice. Not alone. The words warmed her and frightened her at the same time. She didn't want to rely on anyone. Not after being disappointed so deeply. But a small part of her, a tired, lonely part, felt a hint of comfort knowing someone had her back. Her son stirred in her lap. Mummy, is Daddy coming back? He whispered sleepily. Bowler's throat tightened. Not tonight, my darling. He needs time to calm down. Did he shout because of me? Oh no, Bowler whispered, kissing his forehead. Never because of you. Daddy has problems he needs to fix, but it's not your fault. Her son nodded sleepily, trusting her word as absolute truth. After tucking him into bed, Bowler stepped outside into the compound. The dusk sky glowed orange, streetlights flickered awake, and the evening air smelled of fried plantain and burning charcoal from vendors. But her heart was far from calm. She replayed Connell's last words. You've just started a war you can't win. What did that mean? Would he retaliate? File more lies? Show up again? Try to take her son? Or drag Depot into something even more dangerous? She didn't know. And the uncertainty was suffocating. She wrapped her arms around herself. Footsteps approached softly. It was Kelechi, her closest neighbor, widowed, gentle, and always watching out for the kids on the street. Bowler, she said quietly, are you sure you're safe here tonight? Bowler tried to smile. I'm okay. No, you're not. We all saw what happened. You've been strong for too long. Come stay in my house tonight. I don't want you sleeping with one eye open. Bowler's chest tightened. Thank you, truly. But I need to stay. My son will feel safer waking up in his own bed. Kelechi nodded, understanding. If anything happens, scream. We're all here. Bowler managed a weak smile. After she left, Bowler returned inside and sat alone on the edge of her bed. Her mind was a storm. She remembered all the small betrayals she had ignored. Connell hiding his phone. Connell coming home late. Connell borrowing money he never returned. Connell blaming her for his failures. Connell making her feel invisible. She remembered the first day she suspected he was cheating. The perfume smell that wasn't hers. The deleted messages. The sudden secrecy. And when she confronted him, he had flipped the story, accusing her of being insecure. She believed him. She trusted him. She wanted their marriage to work so badly that she accepted every lie like it was medicine. Now she saw the bigger picture. He hadn't just betrayed her. He had been preparing his own escape plan. The mistress had confirmed everything. Divorce. Claiming half her small earnings. Leaving her with nothing but shame and responsibility. A slow-burning rage began to rise in her chest. Not wild fury. Not the messy anger he wanted to provoke. But a cold, clear resolve. For once, she would protect herself. For once, she would fight back. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was a new message, sent from an unknown number. Bowler frowned and opened it. A single line appeared. You think you're safe because of him? Her stomach twisted. Another message came instantly. Watch your back. Her blood froze. This wasn't Connell's number. This wasn't the mistress. This wasn't anyone she recognized. Someone else was involved. Someone watching. Someone who wanted her afraid. Her hands trembled as she stared at the screen. Before she could respond, another message popped up. A photo. Taken outside her house. Just minutes ago. Showing her silhouette standing near the doorway. With a red circle drawn around her head. Bola's breath seized. Someone was here. Watching. Waiting. The night felt heavier than usual. Bola shut all the windows, slid the curtains closed, and locked the doors twice. Even then, she couldn't shake the sensation that eyes were still on her, hidden somewhere in the shadows outside. The phone lay beside her like a ticking bomb. The image on the screen replayed in her mind again and again. Her silhouette at the doorway, circled in red. Whoever sent it had been close. Too close. She tried to steady her breathing. Think logically, she told herself. Panic won't help. You need to understand what's happening. Connell could be impulsive, even reckless, but sending someone to stalk her? That didn't feel like his style. He preferred loud confrontation, dramatic threats, public chaos. Whoever sent that message was quieter, more calculated, and far more dangerous. But why target her? She wasn't rich. She wasn't powerful. She was just a struggling wife trying to keep her world from collapsing. Unless... Her mind drifted to the one variable she didn't fully understand. Dapo. His involvement had come out of nowhere, like a rescue she hadn't asked for but desperately needed. His team had solved her legal disaster in hours. He'd stepped in to protect her son. He had shown concern she didn't know how to interpret. But all of that attention came with risks. Didn't it? People with wealth and power always had enemies. Enemies who might misinterpret things. Enemies who might think she was important. Enemies who might believe harming her would send a message. She swallowed hard. Was she caught in a battle that had nothing to do with her? The thought gnawed at her until sleep became impossible. She rose from the bed and paced the room, careful not to wake her son. The small house felt smaller than ever, like the walls were tightening around her. Her phone buzzed again. Her heart jumped into her throat. But this time, it was Dapo. My team is doing a sweep around your area tonight. Stay inside. Don't open the door for anyone. Bola's fingers hovered above the keyboard, unsure what to reply. She didn't want to feel dependent on him. She didn't want to drag him into more trouble. She didn't want to mistake gratitude for something else. But she also couldn't deny the relief pouring through her chest at his message. She typed carefully. Thank you. Someone sent a photo of my house. I'm scared. He responded almost instantly. Forward it. She hesitated only a second before sending the picture. 2 minutes later, another message arrived. This wasn't taken by any of my staff. Her stomach tightened. Do you know who sent it? She typed. A pause. Then. No. But whoever it is, they're not random. Bola pressed a hand over her heart to steady it. Not random. Someone had a purpose. Someone had a motive. Someone had been close enough to capture that photo without being seen by her, the neighbors, or even Dapo's team earlier in the evening. She moved to the window and lifted the curtain only a fraction. The street was quiet. Too quiet. A dog barked in the distance. A generator hummed faintly from 2 houses down. But everything else felt still, like the entire neighborhood was holding its breath. She let the curtain fall gently. Her son's soft snoring drifted from the bed. That sound, small, innocent, trusting, pulled her back to reality. Fear was a luxury she couldn't afford. She sat beside him and brushed his cheek. He had been through too much already. She wouldn't allow more chaos to enter his life. Whatever was happening, stalking, threats, mysterious enemies, she couldn't let it swallow her family. Her fear slowly shifted into determination. She picked up her phone again. And made a decision she'd been avoiding. She dialed her sister, Funmi, The one person who knew her before marriage had reduced her confidence to ashes. They hadn't spoken in months, mostly because Connell hated when she sought advice from anyone outside their marriage. The line rang. Once. Twice. 3 times. Then. Bowler? Are you okay? It's late. The concern in Funmi's voice broke something inside her. Tears pricked her eyes. I don't know, Bowler whispered. What happened? It's a long story, she said softly. But I think I need your help. Funmi didn't hesitate. Say the word. Bowler breathed in deeply. Can you come tomorrow? Early. I don't want to be alone. I'll be there before sunrise. Relief washed over her, warm and fragile. For years, she had tried to handle everything alone. Her marriage, her struggles, her disappointments. But maybe strength wasn't about suffering in silence. Maybe strength was knowing when to let someone stand beside you. As she ended the call, her phone buzzed again. A new message. Not from Depot. Not from her sister. From the same unknown number as before. This time, no image. No threat. Just 3 chilling words. He's not alone. Bowler froze. Her breath hitched. Who? Connell. Depot. Or someone else entirely. Before she could make sense of the message, another one followed. A location pin. Dropped less than 30 meters from her house. Her heart stopped. Someone was outside. Right now. Waiting. Bowler's fingers trembled as she stared at the glowing location pin. 30 meters from her house. Close enough to see her windows. Close enough to hear her breathe. For a moment, she couldn't move. Then, her phone buzzed again. A voice note. Just 3 seconds long. Her heart pounded against her ribs as she pressed play. Static. A faint shuffle. Then a low male whisper. Come outside. Bowler jerked back, almost dropping the phone. Her legs felt weak, her breath shallow. She scanned the room, checking that every lock was still secure. Her son turned in his sleep, unaware of the danger pressing against their walls. She clutched her chest, forcing herself to think. Running would wake him. Calling the police would take time. Opening the door was not an option. She needed help. Now. Her thumb hovered over Depot's name. But before she could call, headlights flashed outside, brief and eerie, sliding across her curtains like a warning. She froze. Is he outside? Is he watching? Are there more than one? Her throat tightened with fear. She opened the curtain a sliver. A car idled by the corner. Its engine rumbled softly, like a predator waiting to pounce. The tinted windows made it impossible to see who sat inside. She shut the curtain quickly. Her phone vibrated again. A message from Depot. Stay where you are. My team is close. They're tracking the number. Then another message. Immediately after. Do not open the door. Bowler pressed a shaking hand over her mouth. She typed back. Someone is outside. Please hurry. As she sent the message, footsteps echoed on her front porch. Soft. Slow. Deliberate. She grabbed her son and held him close. The footsteps stopped directly outside the door. A shadow passed under the crack. Someone was standing there. Listening. Her heart hammered. Then. A soft knock. Not a violent bang. Not a threat. A single, gentle knock. Almost polite. Her phone lit up again. Not from Depot. Not from the unknown number. From Connell. Her stomach twisted. She stared at the screen in disbelief. Open the door. The message chilled her blood. She typed quickly, desperate. What are you doing here? He responded instantly. I'm trying to talk to my wife. Her breath caught. He wasn't supposed to be here. He was supposed to be facing the consequences of his own actions. He had no right to her home, her peace, her life. And worse. If he was here. Who sent the earlier messages? Who took the photo? Unless Connell wasn't acting alone. Unless someone else was behind the threats. A second message popped up from him. I know you've been meeting Dapo. A cold wave shot through her. He knew. Everything. Before she could respond, a low, scraping sound dragged across the door. Fingernails. Scratching the wood. Bola held her son tighter. She whispered, "It's okay. I'm here. I've got you." Her phone buzzed again. Dapo. Bola, do not respond to him. My men are 1 street away. But Connell wasn't done. Another message. Let me in, Bola. I just want to talk. Don't make this harder. Harder. Her fear curdled into anger. All the humiliation. All the lies. All the disrespect. All the cheating. All the manipulation. And now he had the nerve to stand at her door and act like she was the problem? A dark laugh bubbled in her throat, but she swallowed it down. More footsteps approached outside. Multiple this time. Connell wasn't alone. Her blood ran cold. Men. 3 silhouettes. Maybe 4. Standing in her compound. Her vision blurred for a second. What did they want? To intimidate her? To drag her somewhere? To steal something? Or worse, stop her from exposing the truth? As the men shifted positions, one of them spoke, voice low, almost amused. Connell, we don't have all night. Connell snapped, shut up. I'm dealing with it. Dealing with it. Like she was a problem. A chore. A piece of property he could command. Her hands shook with rage. She stepped backward with her son and reached for her emergency bag, the one she packed after the first threatening message. Her phone lit up. Another text from Dapo. Bola, don't panic. We can see them. We're moving in. Another buzz. Unknown number again. Too late. Bola's breath stopped. Too late. What did that mean? Before she could check again, a sudden crash shook the entire house. Her front door. It didn't break. But someone outside had rammed something heavy into it. The whole frame shuddered. Her son woke up screaming. Mommy. What's happening? Her heart split in 2. She grabbed him, shielding him with her body. Another ram. Harder this time. The hinges groaned. Connell shouted. Bola, open this door right now. Dapo's call came through. She answered with shaking hands. Don't speak, he whispered. Lie flat on the floor with your son. My team is seconds away. Do you hear me? Seconds. Another violent ram shook the door. Wood cracked. Connell yelled again, furious now, desperate. Bola, don't make me break this door down. Her pulse roared in her ears. The door shook once more. Then, a loud, sharp command outside. Police. Stand still. Connell cursed. The men scattered. Footsteps thudded everywhere. Then, a scream. A crash. Silence. Bola clutched her son, heart racing. Someone pounded on her door. Not violently, but urgently. Then a voice she recognized. Bola. It's Dapo's team. Open up, please. She hesitated. Until she heard another sound. Boots. Multiple boots. And someone whispering her name through the window. A voice she wasn't expecting. A voice that shouldn't be here. A woman's voice. Bola. We need to talk. She froze. Slowly turned. There, outside her window, stood a woman. Eyes sharp. Face shadowed. Expression unreadable. She lifted her phone and pressed it to the glass. Bola's blood turned to ice when she read the name on the screen. The unknown number. It was her. For a moment, Bola couldn't move. The woman's face, half lit by the street lamp, looked both familiar and strange. Her eyes, sharp, calculating, held no fear, no urgency. Only quiet power. She tapped the window again with a single manicured finger. Open, she said softly. We don't have much time. Behind Bola, her son gripped her waist, trembling. She wrapped an arm around him protectively. Outside, Dapo's team shouted commands, boots pounding as they secured Connell and the men. But this woman, she wasn't running. She wasn't hiding. She wasn't even pretending to be innocent. She stood still, calm, watching. Bola forced herself to speak. Who are you? The woman tilted her head, as though surprised Bola didn't already know. My name is Bisola, she said. And I'm the one Connell owes. Bola blinked. Owes. The woman stepped slightly closer to the window. He promised me money. A lot of it. Money he doesn't have. Money he claimed he would get through you. Bola's stomach twisted. Through me. Bisola nodded. He told me you were coming into some cash. He didn't explain how. I didn't care. But when he couldn't pay back what he owed, he swore he'd bring something of value instead. A chill crept through Bola's bones. What does that mean? Bisola's voice softened, almost pitying. It means your husband was trying to trade you. The room spun. Trade her. For debt. For money he borrowed recklessly? For a lifestyle he couldn't afford? Her legs trembled, but she stayed upright for her son. Outside, officers continued shouting, but Bisola didn't flinch. She leaned her shoulder lightly against the window frame like this was all an everyday conversation. He didn't tell me you had protection, she continued. He didn't tell me someone powerful was looking out for you. That complicated things. Protection. Dapo. So the threats had nothing to do with Dapo, except that his presence had changed the game. Whoever Bisola expected Bola to be, weak, isolated, easy to intimidate, no longer existed. Bisola sighed. It was supposed to be simple. Scare you. Press you. Make you desperate. Then Connell would save you, in exchange for what he owed me. She shook her head. But he got greedy. Men like him always do. Bola swallowed, voice shaking. And the picture. The messages. I sent those, Bisola admitted, unconcerned. Not to hurt you. Just to remind Connell time was running out. Her face hardened. But he panicked. He brought other men. That wasn't the deal. For the first time, she looked almost annoyed. He broke the rules. A shout from outside broke the moment. Madam. Step away from the house. Now. Flashlights moved. Officers approached. Bisola smiled faintly at Bola. Well. This is where I leave you. She began to turn away. But Bola couldn't let her. Wait. Bisola paused. You threatened me. You terrified my child. Why? Why would you do that? For the first time, Bisola looked away, her voice dropping. Because desperation changes people. Then her gaze met Bola's again, cold, tired, and hollow. And because men like Connell create destruction wherever they go. Before Bola could respond, two officers seized Bisola's arms. She didn't resist. She didn't shout. She walked away quietly, almost peacefully. The moment she disappeared from view, Dapo rushed inside. Are you okay? He asked, breathless. Bola nodded slowly, though her body still trembled. We're fine. Just shaken. He knelt beside her son, reassuring him until the boy finally stopped crying. Then he stood and met Bola's eyes. You're safe now, he said gently. Connell and the men are in custody. The woman too. Bola shook her head. Safe. The word felt foreign. But maybe she could learn it again. Dapo guided her to sit, his voice soft. I know tonight was terrifying. But none of this is your fault. Tonight exposed who Connell truly is, and now you can finally be free. Free. She shut her eyes. For years she had lived in fear. Manipulation. Lies. Infidelity. Public disgrace. Emotional exhaustion. Nights of praying for peace she didn't know how to find. But now, she opened her eyes. I want a new life, she whispered. Dapo nodded. You deserve one. Her son climbed into her lap, sleepy eyes lifting to her. Mommy, are we really safe? She kissed his forehead. Yes, we are. Outside, officers escorted Connell to a van. He looked wild, desperate, shouting her name like she still belonged to him. But she didn't rush to the window. She didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She closed her eyes and exhaled a long, steady breath. This was the end. And the beginning. Dapo placed a gentle hand on her shoulder, not romantic, not possessive, just supportive, present, respectful. Whenever you're ready, he said, I'll help you take the next steps. Bola nodded. For the first time in years, her voice felt strong. I'm ready. She looked at her son. At her future. At the quiet night finally free of shadows. Justice had come, not with violence, but with truth. Her suffering had become her strength. Her fear had become her freedom. The worst chapter of her life was over. A new one, hers alone, was about to begin. Thank you for watching this powerful journey on Stories and Stoner. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more gripping African dramas. What lesson did this story teach you? Drop your thoughts in the comments.